Luke Shaw, injury setback, Mason Mount out. You've heard it well. Luke Shaw, injury setback, Mason Mount has also gone ahead to get injured again. If I'm to count the number of times that Mason Mount has gone ahead to get injured this season, the heavens no, because it's really frustrating for a player that came in through for £60 million from Chelsea, you get, and he's really getting injured like nothing. So, good morning. Hope you guys had a very fantastic night. We're also talking about Rashford ready for the Arsenal tie, returning in to obviously fight for his place at the England Euros. Let's see close to 300 likes mark this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokan David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun. Those are the three stories that we're gonna have to line up this early morning to obviously come in through, and we break down a little bit of words that came through from the mouthpiece of Erik ten Hag. The Muslims, Barakallahu fikum, and we thank Allah for the gift of life. The Christians, we cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ, and we thank God for the gift of life, and may Him protect you wherever you are. Now, where should we start from? Let's first start from Luke Shaw. Erik ten Hag told us the following, that Luke Shaw had a setback in his process as well, but there is still hope, and he will fight to be available for the Emirates FA Cup finals. Now, I remember doing a story here, I think last week, when the manager of Man United, that is Erik ten Hag, came out and really told us that Luke Shaw and Lisandro Martinez are back in training, and they're really trying to be fit for the upcoming games that Man United was set to play. But I tell you what, a lot has gone ahead obviously coming through and really affect this man. Even when he returned, he got a setback, and even when he returned again, he got a setback. There was what we call a blindfolding in the eyes of the United hierarchy on Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw showed us that last season he was really fit and played very many games. If you really never knew, this guy put up a very huge performance last season, and he was readily available every time Erik ten Hag went ahead, obviously called for him or for his services. Last season he played 31 Premier League games. You get 31 Premier League games, and he came in through in 2014, and his game time was always bad because of his injuries. In 2014-2015 he played 16 games. 2015-2016, that's when he broke his, I think, leg. 5 games. 2016-2017 11 games. 2017-2018 11 games. 2018-2019 he played 29 games. 2019-2020 played 24 games in the Premier League. 2020-2021 he played 32 games. That is the highest he has ever gone ahead to deliver in the Premier League. 2021-2022 he played 20 games. 2022-2023, the first season of Erik ten Hag, he played 31 games, and 2023-2024 he played just 12 games. That is Luke Shaw for you. So last season in total, Luke Shaw went ahead to play close to 50 games for the club of Man United, and I think that blindfolded the side of Man United that the guy is really back and is not going to get injured again. And that's why when in January they saw Malacia and Luke Shaw return back, they found it easy to obviously dislodge off Sergio Reguilon from the left back position of Man United. That loan from Tottenham Hotspur was really halted because there was a clause of halting it in January. That is it. So they got him out, and the results have been very bad because Malacia got a setback, and even Luke Shaw, when he returned, he played like 2-3 games and went ahead to get injured again, and they couldn't obviously get in another left back, a situation that was really very alarming for the club of Man United. And guess what? That's what we are really suffering with even right now at the club of Man United. So for me, him being out shows all puts us in a situation of a question. You know, it's a question of what, not a question of if. I think it's a question of what and how. You get? But let me concentrate so much onto the how. You get? Onto the how. What? I think it's a question of what. Let's concentrate so much on the what. What should United do for the left back position solution? Because we are going into the pre-season and these players are going to be available. I tell you, Malacia is going to come to train with the club of Man United. Luke Shaw from the Euros is also going to be available. Now, should United go into the market and sign another left back? That is the huge question. Should Manchester United go into the market and sign another left back? My answer is we shouldn't sign a left back. That is it. We shouldn't sign a left back. Why? Our budget is limited. All we have to do is to get in. All we have to do is first sell Aaron Wan-Bissaka, right? After selling Aaron Wan-Bissaka, get in a Frimpong or a player that can be played as a left back and a right back. That is it. And when you bring in a Frimpong, that means you can play Frimpong as a right back and you can play Dalot as a left back. You understand? So that means you would have gone ahead to clear out Bissaka for like £25 million, add on more 10, get in the lad called Frimpong to do the job. All else, any other right back that he's really good when it comes obviously playing on the left and the right. That's my first solution. Meaning that you'd have gone ahead to kill two birds with one stone and not going in the market looking for left back. Because I've gone ahead to see United being linked to very many left backs. There is one of Girona, there is one of Atletico, is it Bilbao? There is even another one. There are like 4 or 5 left backs that we've gone ahead to obviously be linked at all two. And secondly, you can really sign a left-sided centre back. For example, we all know that Man United is in for a player like Inacio Gehi. We should look in for a player who is left-footed to play into the left side of the central defense, and he can also play onto the left back. Like you've gone ahead to see Man City do it. They brought in Nathan Ake and Jesco Vadio. All those players are left-footed, but they can play as left backs and they can play as left-sided centre backs. That's another solution, because you'll be hitting or solving two problems with one signing of a player. You get? We know that we need 2 central defenders and we might go in for 2. But out of those 2, we should get one who is really right-sided or right-footed and the other who is really left-footed. And you can as well get in 2 central defenders of which one of the 2 can play as a left-sided centre-back even if he's left-footed. For example, we used to see it at Man United that sometimes you would see Wes Brown, a centre-back, being played onto as a right-back or a left-back. So we need to get in versatile players. And this is where the likes of Goncalo Inacio tick all the boxes, because Mark Gehi is good, but I've never gone ahead to see him play as a left-back. So United should make scouting a player like that a priority into this. And the other plan that I think we should obviously talk about is the 17-year-old player known as Armas. You know, the left back who has gone ahead to obviously excite everyone in the training sessions of Man United. He has made it to the bench of Man United on several occasions, but he hasn't made his debut yet. He's known as Armas. Armas is a very good player. I've gone ahead to love him. And another solution is, after getting in those players, you have something to do. And what you have to do, you get them in. After getting them in, you do the needful and put out a very huge performance and expose him to what we call real match games. And what are those real match games in the preseason? He should be given priority to play games in and see how he's going to perform, like they did to Alvaro Fernandez, and see how Armas is really going to do. Because we shouldn't really see this player not getting enough playing time, and Ten Hag should obviously give Armas a lot of playing time in the preseason and see whether the age of 17 he can fit, because he's good. I tell you, he's good. At the age of 16, I saw Arsenal play Bukayo Saka as a left back. And when you look at Armas, he's a better press-resistant player. And in the style of play that Man United really wants to play, like build up from the back, this boy is really brilliant. He inverts well in the midfield. He overlaps well. And if at all you want to obviously make him better, you need to bring in a CDM and have a left forward that can track back and really help him a lot as a player. I think if we build a very good mechanism around this guy, he can really help us. You know, I know why Ten Hag doesn't want to throw him in. The team is really struggling. But if at all you're really having a team that is going to hit the ground running and having some good form, even when the season starts, you can get on Armas. Get off a player who's playing in the left back position, get on Armas and see what Armas can really take you through. That is what those were my thoughts about that. So for me, however much Luke Shaw is really having setbacks like crazy, all I want is to say to it that we don't sign a left back, but I'm going to let you know the players we need to sign. A right back that can play as a left back, and one of the centre backs we should bring in should be a left back, or should be a left-footed player like Goncalo Inacio, who can play as a left back and a left-sided centre back. All else, a right-sided centre back that can play onto that entire back line. For example, the likes of Julian Timber. Look at Julian Timber at Arsenal. He can play as a right back, left back, central defender, you know, and that's why Ten Hag really wanted him, because however good Lisandro Martinez is, he's a limited player because of his foot, you know, and I think he can play as a left back, but you can't really rely onto him in there because you need him to be the spine of your play in that game of football. That is Lisandro Martinez for you. Look at Tomiyasu at the side of Arsenal. He plays as a right back, central defender, and a left back, though he's really right-footed. The other example is at a side of Man City. They have a player called Akanji. When you look at Akanji has gone ahead to be one of those defenders that has been so important or pivotal into the side of Man City. He plays as a right back, he can play as a left back, he can also be played as a central defender, he can also be played as a central midfielder. Those are kind of defenders that we should be looking for. Unfortunately, amongst all those that we're really looking at, I think it's only Goncalo Inacio that has all those qualities we're being talked about. Bremer, I don't think so. Breathwaite, I don't think he has all those qualities. So even if it's Mark Gehi, I don't find him interesting in that. So that's why Goncalo Inacio for me ticks all the boxes for the club of Man United, though the price on his head is really huge. So from that, let's obviously go to another breaking story that is going to hit to shock everyone, and looks like we threw our money into a burning bush. And this is Mason Mount. Ten Hag said it's very unfortunate, very unlucky. It's a symbol. We have so many injuries. Difficult for all of us, for the whole club, but particularly the fans and the show unit. He added and said, I'm very happy with Mason Mount, and he is also a very robust player in his profile. He played in the last 4 seasons and only had a small issue at the end of his career at Chelsea. Before that, he played almost all the games 3 seasons after each other with 3 days turnaround. He always played, and so I think it is really bad luck, and he's a very good player, and we really missed him across the season, I think, because he would have had a contribution to our levels. So all that is really something that is really very petty for me. And for that, I go to anyone who made a decision to sign Mason Mount. A club like Man United would have gone ahead to be thinking about different things altogether. For example, the problem we are having in that midfield is the mobility and agility of players with physical presence. You get Amrabat came in through, and we saw to it that it was really clicking up a little bit, but I don't know how Amrabat got out of the pecking order for the manager to say to it that even Eriksson gets ahead of him. So all we need to know is we need to get in what we call a versatile player. When Arsenal was spending £105 million on Declan Rice, they knew what they are getting. They are getting a player who was really versatile, strong, and talented. He can play as a CDM, he can play as a box-to-box midfielder, he can play in the central defense, he can play as a right back. That is Declan Rice for you. And at Man United, we brought in a player who is really limited and can play in the central midfield and play on the right back. And his physical attributes were not all that good for me. You get? And I think we really went ahead to really spend that money badly. At £60 million, you get, Manchester United would have gone ahead to get in a player, a midfielder, who can really do a lot of jobs. You know, however much you wanted to sign that player, Declan Rice, and you couldn't get him, I think there were other players that we could go ahead and really sign. You know, at £60 million, you can really get in a very good, decent midfielder. For example, Amadou Onana, he was at like 45, 50 million pounds. You know, he can play as a CDM, he can play as a box-to-box midfielder, and he's not an injury-prone player. I never understood that transfer, and I was one of those who was here slating it. I was here slating it because it was really uncalled for, and I think this is why we tell you the problems that have gone ahead to really what is it called? Inflame. So, to really rise, all influx at the club of Man United have been as a result of poor sporting decisions. And if you're a team like Man United, you would love not to be having such stupid decisions made at your club, because these players have gone ahead to be brought in and costed us a lot, and it's all on the burden of the club. The only advantage we have is that we are the most valuable club, and we are really not, and you're really making in money, though we are not really being successful. It shows you that if this club goes back to the success, like winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, it can even fetch in £1 trillion a season. Sorry, £1 billion a season, because if you are making 480, 500, or £500 million when you are on our knees, how much do you think we'll be getting in if at all we get back onto what our working level was? So I think that decision was really very, very, very ugly, and for everyone who made it, he should be really blamed. And sometimes I don't blame the manager. Do you know why? The manager comes out and tells the board, we need such and such a player, and the board has to sit down and analyze and scrutinize everything to the fullest and really ask, do we need a Mason Mount? Don't we have another player that can do what Mason Mount does and can really be versatile? Because if we had versatility in the team, these injuries wouldn't have gone ahead to affect us. That is it. But we've gone ahead to lack what we call versatility in that midfield, and that's where we're really having problems at the level or the club of Man United. Now, big positive we close this story with, it's coming in through from Erik ten Hag. Rashford, of course, he trained this morning as well, and we have to see how he recovered from this. But I think it looks quite good, and I hope he can tomorrow and make the next training, and then see if he's available for Sunday. So he's the positive nod and Lisandro Martinez, you know, into this encounter as we head into it. That is Arsenal. Rashford has a very good scoring record against Arsenal. If you never knew, Rashford has a very good scoring record. Last season, he scored a brace, and I think he put 3 goals past Arsenal, because even when we went to Emirates, he really scored. You remember? He scored, and in all the previous 2 games, or 3 games, we've gone ahead to play against Arsenal. Marcus Rashford has gone ahead to score against them, meaning that he has a very good record against them, and he might rise up to the occasion. But Is he really fit to play? That is the huge question. Is Ten Hag gonna get him on the bench, or is gonna start him? I know how obsessed Ten Hag is with this man, and he's gonna start him instead. So guys, I call upon for your reactions into the Luke Shaw injury setback, and Mason Mount Man United bad luck, and Marcus Rashford ready to torment Arsenal at Old Trafford. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Good morning, the Muslims. Barakallahu fikum. I sign out. First video of the day. More is yet to come. Bye-bye.